There is no secret that The Wolf of Wall Street is one of the most famous movies of all time, one of the most beloved movies of all time, and today I wanted to talk about that because there is a very, very interesting video that I wanted to take a look at, Rooting for the Villain by Renzy. Today, we're going to be diving into this and, of course, giving commentary throughout, and I suggest that you go support Renzy down below in the pinned comment description. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. I'm excited to hear what he has to say because this is one of those movies where you really do find yourself rooting for the villain, and it's really weird how they do that. Kind of like how Breaking Bad off the top of my head was phenomenal at doing so.
So, there's a pretty interesting mind game that this film pulls off.
They're not gonna dial themselves. Without you, they're just worthless hunks of plastic.
Yeah, and like, you... right away, you could just tell, obviously, the main character is just not caring about other people, literally just stealing their money, but you can't help but root for him.
One so seamless, so well executed, that you don't even realize it's happening.
The only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
Jordan Belfort is a man who, by all moral and ethical standards, should be despised.
Yep, and if this happened to you in real life, or if you knew that somebody or like somebody close to you was doing this to other people, you would probably despise them.
Mistake. I don't know what to tell you, babe.
Excuse me.
3 days later, I filed for a divorce and moved Naomi into the apartment.
A man
Yeah, another scumbag thing to do. It was just like scumbag move after scumbag move after scumbag move.
whose entire fortune is built on deception and the exploitation of others.
Sail on a boat fit for a Bond villain, sometimes you need to play the part, right?
And yet, by the time the credits roll, you don't hate him. If anything, you admire him.
Yeah, that, and it wasn't even by the time the credits roll. It was pretty well instantaneously that you kind of liked him. And I actually don't know, and I'm hoping that this video answers the question. I haven't watched this video yet because I can't really think of a reason as to why he's so likable.
Wall Street had swallowed me up and me right back out again.
That's the brilliance of this film. It doesn't just tell you a story, it sells you one.
Come on. Who buys this crap?
The Wolf of Wall Street, they call me. Look.
It starts with Jordan himself. DiCaprio delivers a performance that's magnetic, even.
Yeah, but there's, and you know what? I'll just compare it to Breaking Bad because that's what I thought of off the top of my head about liking villains. You can have phenomenal actors and you can still hate them. Or Game of Thrones, Joffrey. Who do you know that likes the actor of Joffrey? Who do you know that likes Joffrey and wants to cheer for Joffrey? Skylar White, phenomenal actor. Nobody likes her. I'm interested.
Infectious.
I'm not leaving.
With an energy that radiates through the screen, he makes the excess look appealing.
28.7 million in gross commissions.
Makes the recklessness seem exhilarating.
They're business expenses. Relax.
Business expenses. Yes.
This performance taps into something primal. Our fascination with confidence, with power, with success.
Yeah, maybe it was that because he was kind of like getting everything that he ever wanted. Maybe he was achieving a dream that many viewers could only hope to have like a fraction of that same success one day. Maybe it was that, but like you still cheered for him after all of the horrible things that he did. Was it just because like we're watching a main character? Like right now, I'm watching Vikings. Pretty well, objectively, every single character in that show is a bad character, but you can't help but like people.
I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every time.
We're naturally drawn to those who seem untouchable,
I think it's time you both get the f*** off my boat. What do you say?
who move through the world as if gravity doesn't apply to them.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
From the very first scene, Jordan doesn't position himself as the villain. He positions himself as a teacher, a mentor.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, and first impressions are everything, right? And it didn't even occur to me that the movie started that way. Interesting. Yeah, so swaying us right away, and maybe that's the mind trick that they play. Yeah, because we have a positive outlook on him, like right off the bat, right off the beginning. And he started out as like, I'd have to rewatch the movie, but like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he started out as like a fairly humble, normal guy.
$49 million.
He doesn't say, look at all the bad things I did. Instead, he tells you, look at how I did it. He gives you the roadmap, the cheat codes to the system.
That's how they phrased it. Interesting again, man.
Certainly, it's not about right or wrong, it's about winning.
How'd you
do that.
But the real trick is that the film never forces you to take a stance. It doesn't hold your hand, doesn't remind you every 5 minutes that Jordan is a terrible person.
Yeah, and you can even see that with your own eyes, but you're just watching the journey. That is such an interesting mind game. Has another, like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, to be honest with you, that played that same game. Yeah, hey, I'm not telling you to like me. I'm not telling you to cheer for me. Just look what I did. This is how I got, what is it, $49 million, whatever it was. Look how I did this. Check it out. Huh.
Instead, it bombards you with spectacle.
Max, why do you hold
That's it.
That's it. Get the
Good luck on that subway ride home to your miserable, ugly wives.
The parties, the yachts, the piles of cash, the over-the-top monologues.
This right here is the land of opportunity. Stratton Oakmont is America.
It drowns you in indulgence so thoroughly that morality becomes an afterthought.
Yeah, because I would imagine that a lot of people get stuck up watching this movie, like myself included, like, and in saying this, don't get me wrong, like, I'm completely happy with where I'm at in my life, but everybody would like to have that success, right? Everybody would like to, everybody always kind of dreamed at some point about being, like, as rich as could possibly be, throwing the party with all the girls, getting the boats, owning your boat, you know, all that type of stuff.
Too busy having fun to question whether or not you should be.
It took 90 minutes for these little to kick in, but once they did, pow.
Even the way Jordan speaks to the audience plays into this. He's not just narrating, he's selling you something.
It was our next big move, finding companies to take public.
He looks straight into the camera and convinces you that if you just knew what he knew, if you just followed his steps.
Biggest IPO in this firm's history. What the f?
That's funny. I never even considered that I was being played like that. He was just talking to you this entire time, telling the story. Did any other story do that? I'm sure there's been stories that have done that, man, but yeah, he's just guiding you through the entire story, so you didn't have to think about, like, oh, maybe he shouldn't be doing these drugs, maybe he cheating on his girl was bad, maybe all this partying is horrible, maybe he's damaging other people's lives.
You could have this life too, and for a split second, you might believe it. This film has the ability to make his lifestyle feel aspirational rather than unethical.
Aren't you married?
Oh yeah, right there. Right there. Doesn't matter how unethical it is. You insert Margot Robbie to the movie and everybody's like, yup, let's go.
Friends?
We're gonna be friends?
You want to be my friend?
We're not gonna be friends.
The way his world is framed with bright, luxurious cinematography, energetic music, and an almost hypnotic display of extravagance makes it seem more like a reward than a crime.
Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Just start scamming people. Hey, everybody watching this movie probably has some credit card issues. Hey, just hand it over to somebody else. Just scam people from their money.
Third moments like the parties in the office, or riding a helicopter while under the influence, are filmed with a sense of mischief rather than consequence.
$430,000 in one month.
It's fun to watch, and because we're having fun, we forget to judge.
The clients. Your only responsibility is to put meat on the table.
Oh, I don't know, because I'm sure like the first time I watched this movie, I was judging, but I probably just didn't care. Watching Breaking Bad, I was judging Walter the entire time, but I couldn't help but root for him. I couldn't help but cheer for him.
But beyond the indulgence, the film also plays with our expectations of traditional crime narratives. In most movies about criminal masterminds, there's a clear moral arc. Either they suffer the weight of their actions, or they're framed as outright villains. The Wolf of Wall Street does neither. It actively avoids moralization, refusing to make Jordan suffer enough for us to fully condemn him.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too is when I'm looking at all of these scenes, I'm looking at all these different scenes, and like it's crazy the pacing of this movie too. You know, the first time I hated it. The first time I watched it, I didn't like it all that much, but like as I've watched it more and more, I'm just impressed by what they've done.
What person are you? Tell me.
You married me.
We don't see the full extent of the consequences, and without that, we're left enjoying the spectacle without guilt.
You do recall it?
No, I don't recall that at all.
At its core, it's a film about energy, about momentum.
Yeah, and then it kind of hits you all at once at the end, eh? It just kind of hits you all at once, and you realize, like, okay, maybe he did get what was coming into him. Yep, that's totally understandable. But even at some points, I still found myself like, aw, poor Jordan.
To each and every one of you.
It moves fast, it hits hard.
Is this some great company or what?
There's no time to pause, no time to reflect.
Yeah, I off, yeah. How many times a week?
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Constant stimulation, constant adrenaline. Every scene is bigger than the last. Every sequence more absurd.
We all just need to learn to do what comes naturally.
And a lot of people are still like looking up to him at some point where it's like, okay, this is achievable, because there are people living this life, right? There are people living this life, and a lot of people are really, really envious of a life like that.
Life, you know?
Is he hitting on me?
And that's intentional, because that's exactly how Jordan sees the world. He doesn't stop. He doesn't look back. He just goes.
You be relentless!
And we, as the audience, are taken along for the ride.
And he was just explaining it the entire time, looking at the camera. Hey, this is how I did this. This is how I did that. Come watch me do this. This is my plan. Let's see if it, comes to fruition.
And the editing style reinforces this. The quick cuts, the breakneck pacing, the constant breaking of the fourth wall.
Pond scum no more.
It feels like a masterclass in audience manipulation. The film doesn't just tell you about Jordan's lifestyle. It makes you feel it.
Wow. Maybe I hadn't made it home okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's stuff like that, right? It's cool how they do that, because the movie is about manipulating people. You know that Jordan is about manipulating people, yet you're watching the movie and you allow yourself to get manipulated.
When you're caught up in that kind of momentum, it's easy to forget that these actions have consequences.
You're not taking my kids, sweetheart, you hear me?
What's even more impressive is how the film mirrors the experience of being trapped in Jordan's world. It's easy to look at someone from the outside and say, I wouldn't fall for that. But the film places you inside the con, making you...
Yeah. I'm still, like, throughout watching this video, trying to think of another movie that does it. And it, like, not only does it, but does it as well as this, where it's like you actually feel like you're part of this world. It's like a VR movie that it was ahead of its time.
You feel just as intoxicated as his employees.
Just like I believe in each and every one of you here today.
And it just goes to show what a phenomenal actor he is, man. He is a phenomenal actor. You know what I've never watched? Ah, crap. The name of the movie isn't coming to me. It ended up getting a few awards, and people were talking about how great it was. It was the movie where he had to fight the bear. I kept meaning to watch that movie, and I've just never gotten around to it. This dude, it has like... Leonardo DiCaprio brings a certain amount of aura to the table when he's acting, man. He does a good job doing so.
And his victims.
You finally found a broker on Wall Street that you can trust.
The way Jordan hypes up his company, the way he speaks with unwavering confidence,
You give me one shot here.
it makes us understand on a visceral level why people believed him.
But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like maybe it's because of the year that we're in. But I also remember, like, okay, hang on. I still never would think that I would fall for something like this. I just wouldn't. And then I think, okay, you know what? Maybe it was the time. Maybe it was easier to scam people back in the day. But the amount of NPCs that exist in this world today, he probably could get away with it.
Killers who will not take no for an answer.
He was selling a fantasy, and in the moment, it may have felt real. We're watching these events unfold with the same wide-eyed excitement as Jordan's recruits.
And like you kept saying, it gets better and better, more energetic, and we just continue following the story, and we are totally on board with it. Like, look at the energy that he has in this scene. What a pause.
Buying into his charm, swept up in the energy. This film turns the viewer into a willing accomplice, making us feel like we're right there on the trading floor, high on the rush of the hustle.
Yeah, even just like the way that scene was shot. Like, let me go back for a
Making
second.
us feel like we're right there.
Like, it's like we're about to catch the person that we're throwing. Everybody's kind of looking at us. That was... I would imagine that was all planned, right? Everybody's going crazy. It feels like you're right there with Leonardo DiCaprio. It feels like you're right there with Jordan. Very interesting.
Floor, high on the rush of the hustle.
For years, I've been telling you guys never to take no for an answer, right?
And yet, the biggest reason we root for Jordan is that he never feels like the bad guy.
She asked for a $5,000 advance just so she could pay his son's tuition.
Yeah, but he is the bad guy. Watching this movie, you know he's the bad guy, but you can't help but cheer for the bad guy.
You wrote me a check for $25,000.
Despite his wealth, despite his power, he's never positioned as an oppressor. He's never the cold, distant corporate elite. He's one of us.
Yeah, and he did help people throughout his way, but I mean, like, think about all of the lives that he's destroyed on the way as well.
Former member of the middle class raised by 2 accountants in a tiny apartment in Bayside, Queens.
A man who started from nothing, who clawed his way to the top. He wasn't born into money. He built it.
And to be honest with you, there is inherent respect. It's, at least from somebody like me, man, whenever somebody finds the amount of success that a character like Jordan would, find himself in, I just respect that. There's no jealousy for me. It's envious. I'm like, oh my God, the opportunity is there, but I would never be able to bring myself to scam people the way that he's been scamming.
Piece by piece. And that narrative, the idea of the self-made man, is deeply embedded in the American dream.
Is your landlord ready to evict you? Pick up the phone and start dialing.
I don't know, man, but like, that's an interesting point too, because while that's completely accurate that, everybody wants to be a self-made man, everybody looks up to that, everybody wants to, and there was a time where people really respected that, but I feel like the culture is kind of really shifting. As soon as somebody's well-made or self-made, successful, built it from the ground up, you want to take that guy down. Everybody just automatically hates him because somebody like Jordan will remind them about how miserable their lives are. Any, capable man would look at that and see opportunity, but I don't know. I wonder if this movie came out, if it would hit the same for that reason.
Jordan isn't some untouchable CEO sitting in a glass tower. He's cracking jokes in the office. He's hyping up his employees. He's making people rich.
Yeah, and he's teaching them. He's teaching them his ways. He's sharing how he got wealthy.
$1,000 to shave a head. There is no nobility in poverty.
He's charismatic, entertaining, and most importantly, fun. And that's what makes the deception so dangerous. Because when you like someone, you forgive them. Or even worse, you excuse them.
And it equally as if like you're an attractive man, and we all know that Leonardo DiCaprio is a very, very attractive man. Easily forgiven. A lot of attractive people get second chances, a million chances.
House money, don't worry about it, I got you.
That's why the film never shows you the real victims. Sure, you hear about them in passing, but they're never front and center.
But wouldn't you feel better if you sold that stuff to rich people who can afford to lose all that money?
Because they're too smart. That's why not.
You never see the retirees whose savings were wiped out. Never meet the families whose lives were ruined.
And you still knew about it, though. You still knew about it, but the movie, of course, played it following the bad guy. And we see the bad guy doing some fun, good things, and we watch the bad guy.
Damage is both abstract and distant, and that's exactly how Jordan sees it. Now, to be fair, we all want to be successful, to be in control of our own destiny.
You schnooks will now be targeting the wealthiest 1%.
Jordan represents an exaggerated version of that desire. We see a man who refused to play by the rules, who defied the traditional path, and he won, at least for a while.
And he could have stayed winning too, if he would have just slowed down a little bit and not like done things like drinking and driving. But I do look at somebody like that, not the way that he did that, but every time I see someone like making it for themselves, I go, oh my God, I can't wait to be there with you one day. That is so cool that that's possible.
I need you to get dressed. You're going to jail.
That kind of defiance, even when morally bankrupt, is inherently captivating. However, every great rise comes with a fall, and Jordan's downfall was inevitable. But here's the final trick. The movie never lets you feel the weight of it. There's no grand moment of justice, no reckoning that leaves you satisfied.
I don't know about that. I thought his downfall was pretty significant. But maybe we need to hear him out a little bit more.
Even when Jordan is caught, even when the empire crumbles, it doesn't feel like he's lost. The consequences are muted, the punishment minimal.
The sentence of the court shall be 36 months in federal prison.
And I lived in a place where everything was for sale.
Oh yeah, I guess he took an opportunity there too, but I don't know, man. I thought like, destroying his life, doing the drugs when he wasn't supposed to, losing money, losing his wife, his family crumbling down. I thought that was some pretty significant backlash.
Still lands on his feet. In the final scene, he's right back at it.
Sell me this pen. Sell me this pen.
Teaching others, still selling the dream. And in that moment, you realize he hasn't really changed. The system hasn't changed. The cycle continues. And maybe you're still buying what he's selling. And that's the genius of The Wolf of Wall Street. It tricks you into rooting for the villain.
I never even considered that watching this entire movie. I've never considered that the movie was just a big trick. I feel like a fool. But that's what great storytelling is, I guess, eh?
Not through deception, but through indulgence. It makes you complicit, makes you feel the high before reminding you of the cost. And by the time you realize what's happened, it's already too late.
And you just don't care. You just don't care. You're just enjoying yourself. You're watching the movie, and then all of a sudden, you find yourself rooting for the villain. I guess it's just one of those reasons why this is one of like I would say that a lot of people would agree that it's up there with some of the greatest movies of all time. It's great at what it does, and after watching this video, honestly, I have a larger amount of respect for the storytelling, the writing, the acting. It was great at what it does. And guys, Renzy made a phenomenal video. Please check him out in the pinned comment description down below. Go show some support over there. And if you happen to already watch a channel, then why don't you check out this video on screen right now where we dove into the plot of The Incredibles and how society conforms you. I would love to have you over at that video. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Take care.